Hello and welcome to Dickinson's Real Deal. On this show, I help members of the public to get the very best price for their antiques and valuables. They get a choice. Sit down with one of our regular dealers. They're going to try and buy your treasures off you for a sum of money passed over on the table today.
£300.
Could you manage just a little bit more?
If I don't think that's enough money, I'm going to say, don't accept that. Have a gamble, live dangerously. Come to the auction with David and hopefully we will get you a little bit more money there.
At £450 on the internet and selling at £450.
Today the show comes to you from Barrow-in-Furness. I've got the Lady Mayor and the Lady Mayoress with me. Welcome to the show. What are our people going to do today? Are they going to walk away with cash in their pocket? Are they going to gamble and come to auction with me? Either way, they want to walk away by getting the real deal.
Lots of people have arrived in the dealer's den in Barrow-in-Furness, so we'd best get on with it. Our first port of call is Stuart Hofgartner's table, where Bill has brought along a nautical lot.
I think there's going to be somebody out there that would really like to keep this stuff. So if I can get 100 quid for it, I think that's fair enough.
It is amazing what they give me on this show, isn't it? Some bits of old wood,
Yeah.
Whatever next?
Yeah.
But that's obviously got some significance towards it, and I know what it is. This is all timbers, pieces of wood, material that have come off a particular ship. And judging by that, it's the Victory, isn't it? What's important about the HMS Victory?
HMS Victory was Nelson's flagship in the Battle of Trafalgar. The Victory then came back to the UK and was preserved, and it's been in dry dock in Portsmouth since the 1920s.
Early 1900s,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
How are you involved with it?
1980 to 1983, I served on the Victory ship. I was a chief pilot in the Royal Navy, and I got drafted to HMS Victory from my last job in the Navy.
To look after it?
I was a chief boatswain's mate, so,
Right, so
I was in charge of all the bits and pieces,
Yeah.
all the artefacts and stuff like that.
Tell us about these pieces. I mean, they're obviously from pieces of timbers that have been removed in maintaining the ship, as we know it
That's correct.
today. Okay. I know about these offcuts. There's something a bit peculiar about this. It's got a name on. Is this yours?
Yes, it is, yeah. One of the things I've always done in the Navy was run what they call sods operas, which is the crew presenting a show to the rest of the crew, if you see what I mean.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And I was always the guitar player, and they decided when I left the ship that they would make me a piece of Victory oak in shape of a... I was very surprised to receive it, but it was a great thought, you know.
And the copper?
It's a part of a 5-foot copper nail.
Is it really?
That used to hold the thwarts in place on the lower decks.
And there's a letter here, dated 1977, that verifies the material that it was made from.
Yes.
And the age of it.
That's correct.
The book, just briefly?
It was written by Jimmy Pack in 1982. That's the author's signature. The signature below it is a captain of the day of the ship, Charles Addis. And the third signature is the direct descendant of Admiral Lord Nelson.
Is it really? They're jolly interesting things. Let's see if we can strike victory here and buy them from you.
Okay.
20, 40, 60, 80, 100 quid. I'm either going to be way over or nowhere near it.
Hey-ho, up she rises, hey-ho, up she rises. Fascinating collection of items. You just happen to have sat down with the one dealer that I can think of that would want to buy this quirky but amazing pieces of our history. 80 to 120 is what our independents are saying. I think they're being modest. I'm going to say probably worth a little bit more to this gentleman. Ask him for another 20 quid, and I think you're probably doing all right there. And I think he will give it like that.
I think Dave is on your side here. It's £120. You got a deal?
We've got to do it.
Thanks very much.
Stuart was very, very generous, because the ballpark figure I had was £100 got an extra 20, that's fine for me.
Well, that was plain sailing. Let's find out if it's going to be as easy for Heather to get what she wants out of Tim Hogarth.
I think they're worth about £80 to £100, but I'm hoping that they'll fetch a lot more today, 200. Be optimistic.
But the question is, are the pictures watercolours or prints?
Now, you've brought in a collection. There's actually about 35 of these, isn't there?
There are, yes.
Japanese pictures. Can you tell me how you acquired them?
Well, I'm the manager of cancer research in Barrow, and one of our customers actually donated these.
It was
to
very
the shop.
generous.
Yes, very generous.
Yeah. So you obviously don't know a great deal about them because they were just a donation.
No, I have no idea where they've come from, really.
Right. Well, I'm not an expert on this field, so I can tell you a little potted history of them. They probably date from the 1950s, maybe going into the 60s. And they were probably souvenirs that were brought back from people who went to Japan. So they will have been mass produced. Now, I've looked at them, I've looked at quite a few of them under a glass, and I'm pretty convinced that they're prints.
Right.
I don't think they're watercolours. I want to put my money where my mouth is on my judgment, what I think they are, and I think that they're prints. So, how much am I going to offer you?
A lot would be nice.
A lot would be nice because it's a very good cause. I don't want you to shout at me, Heather. I really don't want you to think, oh, that Tim on telly, oh, 20, £40.
Not quite what I was hoping for.
You see, I don't know what you were expecting. And obviously, I'm valuing these as prints. If they valued them as watercolours, there's going to be a huge differential between that. So, not tempting you, am I?
Not really, no.
Am I close?
Not really, no.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Heather. I'm going to give you a £20 donation for your charity, and I want you to put these into the auction and let them find what they are. So, if they're worth £100, you've got £100. I'm sure the auctioneer won't charge you any commission, and you've got a £20 donation off me. Really, you've won both ways, haven't you?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that, Heather?
I am, yes.
Brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for bringing
Cheers.
them along. And I hope for the charity that they are watercolours and that I'm wrong.
So Heather has already got £20 from Tim, and there's even more good news as the auction house thinks they're watercolours, so this bodes well. But as Heather is busy at work, she sent a colleague along.
She can't make it today, and so we've got you, Peter.
Yeah.
You also work for Cancer Research.
Certainly do.
Now, £40 was turned down. We hope to do better than that. Yeah. The good news is the auctioneer has kindly said he will not take any commission because it's for a cancer charity. So whatever it makes under the capital is going straight to the charity.
Fantastic.
Okay? Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Here we go. It's coming up now.
Lot 45, we have the 35 Japanese watercolours, still life. Start me 70 then, please. Surely £70 for a good cause at £70. You bidding? I've 70. You bidding 70? £70 I bid on the phone here.
Okay. £70 has just come in on a telephone bidder.
No advance here at 70 and selling.
Okay. Gavel has gone down at 70 quid. There are no deductions. And so the whole 70 quid is going to Cancer Research. Better than the £40 that was offered on the dealer's day. Though in fairness, can I point out, Tim, you did give a donation to the charity of £20. So thank you for that, mate. Very good of you. Happy on the day, Peter?
Very happy, thank you very much.
You've heard
Thank
what
you.
Pete says. Very happy on the day. Real deal.
Back in the den, Graham is next to see Joe Brayshaw with a necklace that brings back some very special memories.
It belonged to my mum. I finally decided to part with it. I'm hoping to get £200 for it.
And you brought in a half sovereign on a chain.
That's correct.
Why?
Because it belonged to my mum. My mum passed away 12 years ago now. It's been in a drawer ever since.
Did Mum wear it?
Yeah, my mum used to wear it all the time.
She liked it.
Yeah, I bought it for her. It was the first thing I bought
you bought
her.
it for her?
First thing I bought her when I first started at my first month's wage packet.
Oh, wow. Must be quite hard to sell it then. And you were fond of Mum, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I adored my mum, yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that would be hard to part with. I'm just going to have a look at it and just check it out. So I know more or less what we're going to find. Yeah, 1904. Nice and clean. It looks like 9 carat. So, how much do you want for Mother's chain and little half sovereign?
Well, you start off and I'll tell you if it's enough.
Well, that sounds like... All right. Okay. We'll start with £100, 150, 170, 180.
That's not a bad start.
I don't mess about.
I'd like a little bit more than that for it.
If we take all of that paperwork away and put £200 down, we've got £200, and I think David's going to come and give you some advice.
How does that sound to you, Graham, as far as your expectation when you came this morning?
It sounds a pretty good offer, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like us a little bit more if I could get it.
Well, I think you're right. The independent valuers, they're all 180 to 230, in that kind of range. In bullion, the coin itself and the 9 carat gold mounts and chain, there's about 250 quid's worth there. So I'm going to say, it seems good to me, I would accept that.
So you've heard David's advice.
But it couldn't go another tenner.
Yes, I'm going to say yes to the £10 note because it was your mother's, and I want you to go away from the deal with a positive thought. Yes, it still leaves me £40 profit in it. So yes, I'll put another £10. But we've got a deal now.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I went in wanting £200. I come out with £210. I'm now going to go and find something to remind me of my mum. I'm very pleased.
What a lovely idea, Graham. Hope you find something equally pretty. Still to come, Cheryl's gobsmacked.
I've never really ever seen a collection like this of knives and forks. Incredible.
But what's it worth? Find out after the break. The den is buzzing today with people and their prized possessions. Next up is Joy, who's brought along a cutlery set.
I was hoping for perhaps 250.
But will it cut the mustard with Cheryl?
Tell me about your very interesting knives and forks.
Well, they belong to my sister-in-law, and she inherited them from her mother, and I'm not terribly sure whether they went back farther than that and belonged to her grandmother.
Okay.
But when my sister-in-law died, my brother passed them on to me, but I haven't used them.
They're very grand, aren't they?
They are.
I've never really ever seen a collection like this of knives and forks. I fully expected them to be maybe mother of pearl or bone handled, as we see all the time. But we've got agate, moonstone, marble, they're very stylised.
They
They're
are
quite
indeed.
Incredible. There's a stamp here saying a jewellers and silversmiths in Cambridge. Whether that's just the retailer, who knows. These silver blades here, the maker is J. Gilbert of Birmingham.
Yes.
I think date-wise we're probably looking around 1840.
Yeah.
So these will not have been cheap many, many years
No.
ago. So why are you thinking of selling them today?
Well, they sit and look pretty, but I have 2 daughters and 3 granddaughters, and who does one pass them on to? So and really, because they're unused, I think it would be rather nice perhaps to go to someone who would use them more often.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to get some cash out and we'll see what you think.
Thank you.
50. 100, £150.
No, frankly, I think they're worth much more than that.
Right. David.
Very, very attractive. Our independent valuers on the auctioneer, they're saying 250 to 350. Having seen sets of fish servers, knives and forks in sales, no matter how decorative, they're not easy to sell. They're not easy because people don't have as many formal dinner parties as they perhaps did even 10 or 15 years ago. I think they're worth a bit more than that, 150, but they're not easy to sell.
So there's David's advice, Joy.
Yes.
Let's keep going a little bit. So 170.
No, a little more.
You'd like a little more.
Please.
I like them for 170, Joy. That's what I'd like to offer you. What would you like to do?
I think I'd like to take them to auction, please.
You're going to go to auction?
Yes, please.
Well, thank you for bringing something so interesting and good luck on the day.
Thank you very much.
I didn't get the knives. I like the knives, but I think 170 was a good bid. They're not the most wanted things, not the easiest of sellers. I think mine was a good bid.
No joy for Joy in the den, but is going to auction the right call. Unfortunately, she isn't there to find out, but David is.
Joy can't make it today. I'm looking after her interest. They're coming up now. The reserve is £250. Are they going to make the 250? They're not the easiest things in the world to sell, dessert knives and forks, but these are special. They really are beautiful.
Commission interest, I'm going to have to start at a fairly lowly figure of £120. It's with me at 120. 140 anywhere. Take 10 if it helps at 130. 120.
No real interest in the room. They're not easy to sell, but these are exceptional.
120. Any further interest?
They can't be sold at that because there is a reserve of £250. Perhaps the £250 is a little bit ambitious. The real deal was offered by Cheryl Halkney on the day. £170, Cheryl. You were right on the money, girl.
Now, Stuart loves his history, so hopefully Janet's sitting down with the right dealer and won't have a battle on her hands for her war memorabilia.
Today I think I'll get a very good deal from Stuart. He always seems very fair. Bare minimum, we're looking for about £35.
Well, we can see it's a photograph album, 2 medals,
Yes.
a photo and a RAF badge.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit about the history and how you've acquired them?
It's my dad's next door neighbour. She was in the war.
Right.
She's 98 now, and she gave them to my son, who stood behind me.
Right, right.
They were given to him quite a few years ago because he was really interested in the army at the time. But now he's moved on to other things and just
Right,
wants
so you
the
don't have
money
the
now.
attachment, they're not in your family
No,
as such
no.
then? Because these will be Second World War medals. And the disappointing thing about the Second World War medals, there were so many of them produced,
Right.
but they weren't produced with a name or any rank.
There's actually a name on the front of
Is
the
there?
box. Yes.
Right, so that's
And
to
that's
Miss
who it
S.
is.
Whitaker.
Yes.
So someone could actually research on the War Department
Right.
files to see if, what happened to her. Okay,
Right,
you know
yeah.
she survived.
Yeah, she's
but
still
whether
alive
she
today.
went on to a bigger rank or did something important.
Right.
So that would always be interesting to find that out. She
Yeah.
wasn't in the RAF.
I don't know what she
No,
was
because
in.
this is a
I'm
cap
not too
badge
sure.
from I don't know what you call the hat, but they wore little flat hats in the RAF that sort of sat on the
Right.
head like that.
Right.
And this was the badge from those. So that's quite nice in its
Right.
own. And do you know if the picture has got anything to do?
It's something to do. She did say that one of her relations was on it,
Was
but I
it?
don't
Yeah,
know.
That's First World War uniforms, and the postmark on it is Chester 1909. Not to do with these Second
No.
World War ones, but it's still quite interesting. And the photograph album, I have had a look at it. Quite a nice little album actually. But there are some interesting photographs in it.
It's very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Just imagine someone today with a car like that with a machine gun on the back. Frightening really, but anyway. Yeah, here we've got an overturned train wreck near Liddell Station. When you get postcards of photographs, accidents and catastrophes are always the things that create most interest.
Right.
You know, if you get like a train crash, that doesn't mean much importance to us here now, but that could have been quite an event in its day for the localised area. So they're all valued individually, I suppose, but add them together, and that's what we're looking at. And so you brought them here to sell them, and let's see what we can pay you for them.
Okay.
20. 40. £60.
I think I'd like a little bit more than that, please.
A little bit more. You can squeeze a little bit more out of me. £70.
Would you go any more?
£70 is my price. I was thinking 50 or 60, to be honest with you.
Right. Can I ask my son, because it is... Do I take the money?
Yeah.
Yes? You sure?
Yeah.
Yep.
He wants the £70, does he?
Yes, he'd like the money. He wants it, please.
He wants it. What does he want, this, or does he want that?
The money, please.
So we got a deal?
We have got a deal.
Right.
I'm really happy because I was going to accept £35 and I got 70.
So Janet has doubled her money. Now that's a result. Coming up, what on earth has landed on Cheryl's table?
I suppose when you're 100+ years old and you've been dangling from your wings, maybe you are going to suffer some damage.
All will be revealed after the break. Welcome back to Dickinson's Real Deal. We're in Barrow-in-Furness, where the den is bustling with people all keen to see our dealers, and Christine is no exception. She's brought Jo a signed print by a 20th century Lancashire-born artist who is world famous for his matchstick men.
I've brought a Lowry print. I'm just about to sit down with Jo and hopefully we can come to a real deal.
So, Christine, we've got this print. It's very typical Lancashire Mills scene, isn't it, with the chimney and people wandering along. You've looked after it nicely, and it's got a pencil signature, LS Lowry, and it's got the gallery stamp dated in 1961. How did you come to have a signed Lowry print?
30 odd years ago, me and my husband went to Manchester looking for pictures for a house. I saw this and just fell in love with it.
Have you fallen out of love?
No, I'm downsizing, and so some things, unfortunately, have to go.
Right, and this is a casualty?
Exactly.
What's it worth? I have no idea. I mean, I'm from the northeast. This is a very northwest kind of thing, isn't it?
Yes.
So it would be a punt in the dark for me. OK, well, we'll have a bash and see what happens, but I have a feeling that I won't live up to your expectations. 50, 100, 150, 200.
No, sorry.
So you're very definite about that. Have you managed to do a bit of research?
I've have a price in mind, and I have been on the internet regarding it.
And obviously my £200 doesn't cuckoo at it from your reaction.
No.
Offering another £50 isn't going to make any difference, is it?
No.
I think really what I'm saying to you is I haven't got a clue, and I think you should go to auction with it.
Well, I think I've got a bit of a clue because I've just spoke with my independent valuers. We've done a quick bit of research, and there have been examples of this particular print that have been sold in the last few years, and they surprise you. They have been doing quite well.
Yes.
300 to 500, 300 to 400 is the area of our independent valuers and our auctioneers. That's where they're placing it. We know the originals are, of course, hundreds of thousands and millions, and a nice limited edition, a signed proof, can bring reasonable money. And so I'm going to say, yes, aye, by gum lad, let's get off to auction. Salford, they're buying that scene right now.
So, Christine, what do you think about that?
I think it'll have to go to auction.
I think that's the right choice. Good luck with it. Thanks very much for bringing it in.
Thank you. After hearing what David said, I'm sure it'll fetch a lot more at auction, and I'm sure the money will be well spent on my grandchildren.
We hope you're right, Christine. So let's find out if the name Lowry sets the auction house alight with bidders.
260.
You said to us, look, I want to go at home with £400 in my hand.
Yes.
I've mentioned this to the auctioneer. He said, OK, if we get up to £400, he won't take a commission off you just on this one occasion. But I have to say, we think it's pushing it to get up to 400. So I must say to you, are you prepared to lower that estimation or not?
No, I think I'd take it home if it didn't reach the...
I hear exactly what you're saying, but is it good enough for a £400? We're about to find out. It's coming up over there.
By various interests, we can start the bidding at £200. It's with me at 200. 220 anywhere. 220, yes, 220, 240 now with me. It's with me at 240, it's against you on the internet. 280 we've jumped to now. Do you want to bid 300? 300, 320, 340.
Getting up there, 340.
360. 380, I'll go 400. I'll take 20s if it helps. 420, 420, I'm out now. £420 on the telephone now. In advance at 420.
The gavel's just gone down. Woo! At £420. He's taken the £20 commission. That will leave you with £400. Are you happy?
I'm very happy.
OK. On the day, Christine is going home with £400 in your hand, which is what you wanted, and that is the real deal.
Back in the den, something angelic has landed on Cheryl's table. But does Jackie have a devilish plan?
I will keep going until I get the price that I want, hopefully.
I'm not sure where he's from, how old he is, or what he's made from, but I'm going to try and buy him. Now tell me about this very nice cherub.
A relative of mine gave him to me. He was a collector of cherubs, but this is the only one that was made of this particular material. I have been told that it might be made of terracotta, but there's a bit of a question mark over that. All the rest of his cherubs were wooden. And so this is the odd one out. I think it's possibly 19th century.
Why are you thinking of parting with him then?
Because I have other cherubs, and this is...
The cherub theme is running.
Yes, so this cherub at the moment isn't needed. He's very loved and very cherished, but just at the moment I can possibly part with him to someone who really wants him.
I've had quite a few of these over the years. As you said, mostly they've been wood. Like you, I'm not quite sure what he's made from. There's bits here that look like terracotta and the fingers feel like it, but when you actually lift him up, he's not as heavy as you would expect terracotta to be. He's suffered a little bit of damage to the wings, just a little, I think.
He's been flying a bit.
He's been flying too high, I think. So that probably needs putting right, but I suppose when you're 100+ years old and you've been dangling from your wings, maybe you are going to suffer some damage. And he's been painted, as you can see. This is flaking and lifting. I actually quite like the flaky paint. I think it adds to the character. I'll get some cash out and see if I can buy him, shall I?
Please.
Okay. Right, I won't mess about. I'm going to go straight in. £100.
It's tempting, but not quite tempting enough.
So I thought that was going to be a storming bid. 120, is that tempting you?
It's looking a bit better.
A bit better. What would you need to shake my hand?
Just a little bit more.
A little bit more. 130. I don't know how much more I love him. I love him for £130. What do you say?
140?
Would you shake my hand?
I would on that, yeah.
Well, let's take that away. Put that down. There's £140. We got a deal?
We have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheryl got the cherub, and and I'm going to keep the Cherub. I love him. I am over the moon. I'm delighted with him.
Coming up, is Tim trying his luck?
And then you've got a little thing here from the Daily Mirror in 1970 saying that it's worth £20.
And upwards.
And upwards. Do you want 25?
No.
Surely you can do better than that, Tim. Find out if he does after the break. Welcome back to Dickinson's Real Deal. The crowds have certainly turned out today. Margaret has brought along a beautiful object for Tim.
Well, I'd like to think I'd get at least 60 or somewhere around that figure. Like to think.
The Duke and auctioneer David Brooks think Margaret has undervalued it, so we're keeping a close eye on this one. Tim, why don't you tell us what it is first?
Now, I know what a vinaigrette is. Do you know what a vinaigrette is?
I do, yes.
Maybe the people at home don't know what a vinaigrette is. So a vinaigrette is, for in Georgian times, Victorian times, you would have one of these probably in your pocket or on a watch chain. And inside there would be a little sponge which would be scented. It'd be scented with lavender or something like that. And you were walking in the street and it was a bit... You'd just pop this up to your nose and you'd get a lovely smell, just to take away the odour. I don't want to describe it too much to you, Margaret, because it might put you off your lunch. Now, this is particularly pretty example of a vinaigrette because it's got Queen Victoria young head on there.
Yes.
It is a Birmingham maker. It would have been nice had it been a Scottish maker because it's decorated with these hard stones, which are probably granites and polished. Now, in Victorian times, the fashion for Scottish jewellery was really, really popular because Queen Victoria and Balmoral popularised it, you see.
Yes.
And so that's probably where that came from. And then you've got a little thing here from the Daily Mirror in 1970 saying that it's worth £20.
And upwards.
And upwards. Do you want 25?
No.
I'm only joking. I've got some nice photographs of it here. So how did you acquire it, Margaret?
It was given to me by an elderly lady who my mother worked for. She wished me to have it, and I've had it roughly 52 years.
So why have you decided to sell it today then, Margaret?
Well, one reason, I'm a bit frightened to wear it in case I lose it. And the main reason is I'm refurbishing at home.
All right, you want to buy some new carpets?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
well, carpets are expensive these
Very
days, aren't they?
expensive, yes. Yes.
Right, let's see what we can do. I like this item. I think it's a really nice thing, yeah.
Yeah.
David, this came through the door, and there were lots of varied opinions on this.
At first glance, it did look sort of fairly average, but when you actually look at it closer, and you do tend to revise your opinion on it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I've looked at that, and I do feel it's something a little bit special. Let's see what Tim puts on the table.
Margaret could be in for a big surprise. Remember, she thinks it's only worth £60.
Right, are we ready, Margaret? 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, £300.
I've just tapped you on the shoulder because when you came along this morning, I know you had no expectations, any real expectation of the value of this item. When I looked at it and our independent valuers looked at it, we all said, what a little sweetie that is, and a rarity. I have two estimations. I have 180 to 220, and I have £200 to £300. Now, I actually think that they are on the conservative side. Is that exactly your final bid there? Are you tempted to sweeten it a little bit before I try and persuade this dear lady to come out with me for an afternoon at the auction? So,
no, it's not my last offer, David.
Okay.
No.
Let's hear what Tim's final offer is, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
I like this item, Margaret.
Right.
The one thing that's driving it for me is because it's Scottish. It ticks all the boxes. So I'm going to go 350, £400.
David, £400 is now on the table. It is exceeding both estimates from yourself and the independent valuers. What do you think about that?
The beauty of auction is, though, it's not just one person's opinion, it's the world through the internet. And who knows where it could end up.
OK, I'm going back in and I'm going to tell our seller there is a chance in auction this could do really well. I've walked back in here because I can see now there is a substantial offer of £400, much more, I think, than your anticipation when you arrived today. I have to say, by going to auction, if we got £500 under the gavel and we took away 15%, we would have £425. But it's a real gamble. You must make up your own mind, but that's a fair offer.
Yes.
So, Margaret?
It's a deal.
Is it a deal? Lovely, thank you.
It's a shame it didn't come to auction. I would have liked to have seen what it might have fetched.
But I feel like you do. Should it have gone to auction, it could, just could, have made a lot more.
I had to buy that vinaigrette, just a wonderful thing, the best thing that's come in here today, a jewel, an absolute jewel. I love it and I'm going to keep it.
Well, when I first came, I thought perhaps the necklace may be worth 50, say 280, something like that. So when Tim made me this offer, I just couldn't refuse.
It's been an exciting day, so let's find out how our dealers have got on with their recent purchases. Well, it's been a historical day for Stuart. First, there was the HMS Victory artefacts that he sailed away with for £120. He sold some items to a private collector and others to a dealer.
Deal.
The history lesson continued with the war medals, photos and album that he paid £70 for. So far, he's sold the medals, also making a profit of £30. Jo showed her softer side when buying the half sovereign and chain.
I'm going to say yes to the £10 note because it was your mother's and I want you to go away from the deal with a positive thought.
She's moved it on for £245. But 2 of our 4 dealers were so impressed with their items they've kept them. Remember the Cherub that made Cheryl go all of a flutter?
Cheryl got the Cherub and I'm going to keep the Cherub. I love him. I am over the moon. I'm delighted with him.
So that treat to herself cost £140. But she wasn't alone, as Tim was just as smitten with his one buy of the day.
I like this item, Margaret. It ticks all the boxes.
So the sweet smell of victory set him back £400, and like Cheryl, he's decided not to part with it. Come on, you lot, you're dealers and you're meant to sell stuff.
Don't forget to join me, David Dickinson, next time for Dickinson's Real Deal. See you.